Do you remember when you very first started your coaching business? All those lovely ideas you had for about how you're going to change the world, how you're going to have a bigger impact, how you were going to kind of make things really different, both for your clients, for yourself, and for your family, right? So what actually happened? What was the reality? Because when you first started it, I pretty much can say with a great deal of certainty that really you started it for three reasons, right? It doesn't really matter where you are in the world, kind of what your personal circumstances are, what your style of coaching is, whether it's fitness coaching, health coaching, business coaching, relationship coaching, whatever it was. You started it really, I can fairly definitely gamble on this for one of three reasons, and probably all three, right? First off, for freedom, the idea that you were actually just going to be free. You were going to be able to do things the way you wanted to do them, with who you wanted to do them with, kind of at the times when you wanted to do them, and get paid what you really felt you wanted to earn from it, right? So ultimately it was freedom. It was getting away from that idea that there was a specific way of doing it, that some company was telling you you had to do this and you had to be here at this time and you had to wear that uniform and you had to do these things, right? So when you first started your business, it was really about freedom. What else was it about? It was about fun. Right? Because alongside freedom always comes fun, and this idea that, you know what, working for these other people over here doing these things isn't really that much fun, but you know what, if I actually had the freedom and I was out there doing things my way, God, it would be awesome. I'd get up with a smile on my face every single day. I'd go to work every day and smile at the people that I was working with, and I'd end every day with my feet up on the couch going, lovely, I did exactly what I wanted to do. There'd be a smile on your face, it would be fun and things would be enjoyable. Or at least that was part of the dream of setting up your coaching business, right? And what else? What about this third aspect? Well, I would say for all of us, the third aspect was financial freedom, right? Financial success. Now, obviously, kind of whenever we set up our own businesses, we always have these dreams of not only doing things our own way, but getting paid exactly what we're worth. And if you speak to most people who set their own businesses up, they're always going to tell you that I finally wanted to be paid what I was worth. I could see so much more value in what I was doing than the other people that I was working for could see. And, I really wanted to make sure that I was going to have this financial success I'd always dreamed of. And it doesn't have to be millions or billions or any of that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be the six-figure income if that's not your thing. But pretty much for all of us, there was this dream about some level of financial success, whatever that means to us as individuals, right? So freedom, fun, and financial success, 3 Fs. And that was, I would say, for most of us, when we first started our business, the big dream. And what happened? What became the reality? Well, for most of us, when we started our coaching businesses, a very different reality kicked in. And that reality turned into something like, oh my God, this isn't giving me anywhere near as much freedom as I'd hoped. Maybe for a short space of time it did. You're like, yes, I don't have to go into the office today. And yes, I don't have to go to the gym today. And yes, I get to wear exactly what I want to wear. And there was that immediate freedom. But within a very short space of time, that freedom got relinquished to other people, right? And we relinquished that freedom to other people in lots and lots of different ways, and usually by taking on other people's kind of marketing ideas, other people's paradigms for how a business should be run. We listen to the amazing marketing people who say you should never do this on your site, so we stopped doing that even though we loved it and even that worked for us. And the people that say you're an idiot if you do that with your traffic, and we change our traffic systems. And then there are people that say to us, you've got to take that off, or you've got to put that on, and you've got to stop doing this and you've got to start doing that. And before you know it, all the freedom, all the reasons why you actually initially went off and started your own coaching business have gone. They've all been wiped away. So now, at least in the past, you had the structure of business and you were going to get paid no matter what happened. And now you've got this so-called freedom, which it turns out really isn't freedom at all. You're actually in a worse off place. You don't know where your next paycheck's coming from. And now suddenly, instead of working kind of 9 till 5, you're working 5 till 9 and beyond. And all of the headaches belong to you. So that freedom disappears. What about fun? Well, when your freedom disappears, it's really hard to have fun, right? Kind of the individual clients in front of you might be awesome, but in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, okay, well, where's the next one going to come from? And I haven't got enough leads this month, and how am I going to pay my overheads? And where's the next client going to come from? And where's the next one coming from? And Mary hasn't paid this month. Is she already giving me signals that she doesn't want to continue? And all of the things that should have been fun have now just turned into this big nightmare, right? This big nightmare where suddenly other people hold the keys to our smiles, right? If Mary signs up again this month, great, okay, I can smile a little bit, my little temporary smile, right? But if she doesn't, then okay, now I've got to go into panic mode. And this is actually the lives of a lot of entrepreneur coaches, who people who've started up their own businesses. And what about financial success? Does that ever happen? Well, for most people, rarely. The truth is, most coaches aren't doing very well financially. They want to, clearly, right? But they're not. And partly because they're spending so much money on all these things that are supposed to bring them clients. They're members of masterminds and mentorships, and they've got subscriptions to all kinds of newsletters, and have taken out all these software subscriptions on things that are supposed to make their businesses better and bring them floods more traffic, and none of it ever happens. And the financial success never happens. And in fact, month to month to month to month, they find that they're living kind of paycheck to paycheck. They end up with more month left than money. Okay, so if that's been your experience of operating your coaching business up to this point, I completely get it. I completely understand. Fortunately, that hasn't been my circumstances for quite some time, but it's partly been that way because I engineer things very, very differently. It's not because I'm so smart, it's not because I'm so clever. It's because way, way, way back when, I noticed the exact same things happening to me. All the things that should have been bringing me fun and freedom and financial success were bringing me headaches and nightmares, and kind of making me feel less successful and less free than I'd ever felt before. So most people are experiencing the opposite. For that period of time, I was experiencing the opposite. And I decided that things had to change, right? And that's when I started to looking at why things had gotten that way. Like, why was it the case that so many of us were doing this work that was ultimately about bringing freedom into our clients' lives, and yet when we look at our own lives, we find that we don't experience any of the freedom, any of these promises that we're making to people. Come work with me. I'm an awesome coach, and I'm going to help set you free. I'm going to put more smiles on your face. I'm going to make life better for you. And we're sitting and going, my life's getting worse. Less smiles on my face, less money, less freedom, and so on and so forth. And I realized that basically I'd let too many experts into my life. I think we all do this, right? I've let too many experts in, all the Facebook experts, all the marketing experts, the SEO experts. Pretty much everyone who had anything to say on any topic was kind of given a key into my brain to say, hey, kind of, let's mess around with this, and let's create some self-doubt, and let's kind of have you thinking that maybe your way of doing things isn't good enough. Okay, so too many experts had found their way into my brain, too many conversations that were happening that really, when you break them down, were nothing to do with the reasons why I'd set up as a coach in the first place. They weren't bringing me freedom. They weren't bringing me fun. They weren't bringing me financial success. And yet I still sat there and listened to these conversations. And I guess, like most of us, it's because the promise sounded so plausible. The promise sounded so appealing. And yet the promise never really manifested. Things got worse and worse and worse, right? I realized that all of these conversations were going on in my head, and yet none of the conversations were started by me. None of them were initiated by me, and none of them really came down to asking myself the real core questions about what I really set this business up for in the first place. And that's when I realized actually that there's only one way to run a business. There's only one way to show up in the world as an awesome coach. There's only one way to show up in the world as an awesome father or husband or any of those kind of things. And you know what it is? It's your way. Right? That's it. That's the only one way. It's your way. And so as soon as I realized that kind of once I could actually build life on my own terms, I could build my business on my own terms, I could say things on my own terms, that's when things really started to change for me. And that's where I went from a struggling personal trainer into a personal trainer who was doing very well. I became the highest paid personal trainer in the United Kingdom. And then on to being a coach. I'm amongst the highest paid personal coaches in the world right now. Okay, and all of this happened as a result of changing things up so that I understood that my way was the best way. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't go out and don't get expert advice on other areas, but what it does mean is that those other areas can never, ever, ever conflict with who I am, with what I believe, with what my foundational values and principles are. Okay, and this is really, really different, I think, to what most coaches are doing in the world right now. So what happens is that when we give away ourselves to all of these other conversations, we end up in this kind of imposter complex, right? Because now we've moved into having 20, 30 judges over our life, people that have been given the power to actually say, you're an idiot, you're not doing that the right way, or that the right way, or that the right way, or that the right way. And whenever we do get something the right way, so that whenever leads do come in, we're still left with that shadow of a doubt. Yeah, but it wasn't me though, it was somebody else's stuff. It was, you know, and what if that Facebook traffic stream dries up now? Kind of, where am I going to get the next people? We're stuck in this imposter complex. Okay, which is why most coaches that I speak to never quite feel that they're good enough. They hope that they are, they dream that they are, they wish that they are, but they never quite feel that they're good enough. And it really comes back to this imposter-based complex, where they are not really operating from anything to do with themselves. They're operating from everybody else's perspective on what life should look like, on what success looks like, on what freedom looks like, on what financial success would look like. They're operating from other people's paradigms, other people's perspectives, other people's points of view. So imagine if you could just take all of that, get rid of it, and make it so bloody much simpler. Okay, imagine if you could then make it so much simpler. Imagine if you could take all of your marketing efforts and all of your success efforts around your company back to what really works. And what really works, right? Not the technical kind of dotting the I's, crossing the T, what really works, the global big picture of what really works. And I think if you speak to most people who are doing really, really well, despite the fact that they may be doing well in different ways, what you'll find is true for them across the board is this. There's only really 3 ways of becoming truly successful. Right? Way number 1 is to show up. Ultimately, you know, this has been my mantra for some time now. Show up, show up, show up, show up, show up, right? You've got to show up. And if you're not showing up, the world doesn't know that you exist. And if the world doesn't know that you exist, they can't take you up on your services. And if they can't take you up on their services, you can't change their lives. And if you can't change their lives, you're not really making much of a difference in the world. And you're not ever getting the feedback to yourself that you're making a difference, which means, of course, you are perpetuating the imposter complex. You believe that actually I'm not the world's awesomest at this, because look at me, I'm not really getting any feedback, I'm not really getting any communication, I'm not really kind of having anybody saying, Dax, you've changed my life, thank you so much, which I'm really, really fortunate enough, because I get that every day, sometimes hundreds of times in a single day, right? Which is absolutely beautiful for me. But it didn't used to happen until I decided that I was going to commit myself to showing up. But as we know, showing up in itself isn't enough. Right? Just showing up isn't enough. There are plenty of people that pop some content onto their Facebook wall on a daily basis. They blog on a daily basis, and there are still not people engaging with them. So the second kind of part of this success principle really is to create connections with people. Okay, and connections really come down to really understanding who you are and who they are, and where this overlap can occur in these conversations, right? Telling somebody who absolutely loves CrossFit physical training, for example, that they're idiots and there's a better way to train is not a form of connection. Telling people that they're wrong about anything is not a form of connection. It's just going to create separation, right? But that doesn't mean selling yourself out and just agreeing with absolutely everybody you meet just so that you can try and create connection. That doesn't create connection either. You showing up as your most awesome self, with your beliefs on full display, with your values on full display, with actually something to say that's heartfelt, right? That's coming from a really, really good place, deep place within you, is a great way to start building connection. And unfortunately, most people don't do that. They either don't know how to do that, or they're a bit embarrassed or kind of ashamed or feel uncomfortable or fearful about doing it. Okay, but again, that normally just comes from a place of not truly understanding the value of what they have to say, right? So again, one of those kind of really weird paradoxes of being a coach, where a coach sees the magic in everyone else, but very often we don't see it in ourselves. Okay, but that really is the second step, right? So we've got show up, and then after showing up, we've got create connection. What comes next? What's the third and final step? The third and final step really of all success coaching and selling coaching is really to have a conversation. It's as simple as that, have a conversation. See, I'm not big onto sales, right? So I don't tend to use the language of sales very much. But this concept that no sale ever takes place until a conversation has occurred. And so it behooves us all to engineer our lives so that we're having more conversations with people, so that we're putting ourselves in the way of people that we've connected. So in other words, we have to show up first, and once we show up, we get the opportunity to connect, and once we get the opportunity to connect, we get the opportunity to have the conversation. And without the conversation, no sale or no investment or no signing up for your services or whatever is ever going to happen, right? But there are ways to have conversations that really make a difference, that count, that transform the lives of your prospects and your clients. And there are ways to have conversations where people say, hey, great, thanks very much, that was awesome, you've helped me gain some clarity. Great, I know where to come to in the future if I ever want to speak to anyone about this again. And I think that's been the experience of lots of coaches. In fact, 4 coaches just this week have contacted me to say that's been their experience. Okay, they're showing up, they're creating content, they're creating connections, they're having the conversation that says, hey, come get on a call with me and I'm going to change your life. And you know what happens? They do get the person on the call with them, they do change their life, and then, thank you, thanks so much, that was awesome. Game over, the person goes on their merry way, never to sign up for a service, never to take part in any kind of paid aspect of what you do, and just disappear, which is a shame both for the client and for you as the coach. And I'm sure that probably sounds familiar, right? Or the flip side is that kind of you get people onto a call, and as soon as you mention money, they kind of, you know, it's crickets and tumbleweed and they've disappeared. Okay, so they've heard everything you have to say, and then, boom, they're gone. As soon as money comes into the picture, oh yeah, I don't have the money for that. Okay, this is, for me, this is really, really obvious because this just comes from coaching. It's a sign that some form of connection wasn't deep enough before we started the conversation. It's a sign that the conversation didn't take the connection deeper. Okay. It's really, really simple to show up in the world as an amazingly powerful coach who makes a difference in the lives of their clients. Ultimately, because they are focused on their freedom, right? They are focused on having fun, and they are focused on their financial success. Yes, focused on the financial success. But all of that really comes down to showing up in the world, creating connections, and having conversations. And until that happens, it doesn't matter how much traffic you drive to your site. In fact, the greater your ability to drive traffic versus your ability to connect and have a conversation, you know, is the amount of money that you're going to be wasting and the amount of time you're going to be wasting. Because here's what happens. Most coaches who are making their traffic work, as in, wow, I just signed up for this program and I just got 300 leads in the first week, right? What the untold half of the story is, okay, I got 300 leads in the first week. I got kind of 75, 80 application forms filled in off of that. And then I spent the next month or 6 weeks chasing around most of those people who never responded after applying. Those who did, I got kind of, you know, I spent a month, 2 months kind of, you know, on telephone calls back and forward with people, trying to get them onto an exploration call, and then from the exploration call into a service. And it was a very, very small number of people that came out of the other end, okay, that actually became clients. That's most people's experience of generating lots of traffic. So let's focus on what's actually happened here. You paid for lots of traffic, all those clicks and all those conversions and opt-ins and everything else. You paid for all of that. Okay, then you paid again in the time of chasing up all of those woohoo forms, all those application forms of people that just were giving you the runaround that didn't ever come back. Then you paid again with all of those calls that you sat on, all those hours of your life that you gave up trying to convince and persuade a person into becoming a client. And then you paid again with the emotional kind of impact of most of the people saying no to you, right? And the very few that trickle out the other end. Doesn't mean it can't still be profitable, but look at all the different ways that you've paid. This is an experience for most coaches, right? This is an experience for most coaches, but even those who are doing really amazingly well at generating traffic, they're doing really amazingly poorly at converting it into active clients, okay? So where is all of this leading? I guess that's a question that's going through your mind at the moment. Well, let me lay the cards on the table for all to see. Remember, at the beginning of this video, I said that there's really only one way to actually create a really successful business around coaching, just one, right? And that way is your way. Well, next month, or from the 1st to the 11th of November, I'm taking away a very special group of coaches to Thailand to come live with me for 10 days in a stunning villa on, you know, powder white sands, literally right on the beach in Thailand, where we're going to spend 10 days really digging in, like digging in to helping them find out who they really are. and to helping them find out how they can show up in the world their way, not some offshoot of Dax Moy's way. I'm going to provide the framework for them to help discover themselves, discover their core message, discover how valuable that message is, and then discover a way for them to actually show up in the world with that message in a way they feel really bloody good about, so they can, like I said, they can stand up nice and tall with their kind of their chests high, their heads held high, and thinking, yes, this is really good. I feel so amazing and so honored to put my name behind this. This is exactly what we're going to be doing for 10 days in the Guru Project in Thailand, right? Digging deep into all of those areas. So not only do you regain the freedom that you really did set your business up for, that you regain the fun, so every single day you actually get to go to work and finish work with that smile on your face, and regain that financial success so that you can learn how to leverage your business in a way that it actually pays you exactly what you deserve to be paid. Now, I don't really care. Like, I don't care whether you're looking to be a 6-figure earner or a 7-figure earner, whether you're kind of happy with a bit more money, bit less, whatever it happens to be. I don't really care what the number is, but I'm going to help you to get to that during your 10 days in Thailand by helping you to create a very specific plan that is not built around my life, not built around my values, not built around the way Dax Moy says you have to do it, but ultimately a plan that is built 100% around the framework that you create during that program. So we're a month away. It's not going to be for everyone. If you're the kind of person who's saying, look, I just want some traffic, get me some traffic, the Guru Project isn't going to be for you. If you're the kind of person who says, you know, I'm just looking for kind of cheap lower end leads into my company as quickly as possible, the Guru Project isn't going to be for you. If you're the kind of person who has a really high turnover in your business and you don't really care about it, then the Guru Project isn't going to be for you. But if you're the kind of person who wants clients in your life to stay with you for longer, to get bigger and better results, to connect on a more deep level with you, and hopefully to pay you more, or at least pay you what you feel you're genuinely worth on your terms, then the Guru Project is going to be an absolutely fantastic investment of your time, effort, energy and money. Now, there's no getting around the fact that the Guru Project is a big investment of time, effort, energy, emotion, and of course money. There's no getting away from that. It's going to cost a lot. But the key word here is investment. This is something that I promise you has the ability to change your life in ways that most people will never ever experience, and not by going onto membership sites or not by going on mastermind groups or any of those kind of things. It's not for everyone, but if it's for you, or if anything I've said here has even slightly tickled your taste buds, then pop across to theguruproject.awakentheguruwithin.com and you'll find out more about it. But do hurry. We are already over half full. 9 of the 16 places are full. So we've got ourselves 7 places left, and we leave in a month, or at least the program starts in a month. So there's not a lot of time to make up your mind. This isn't to pressure you. This isn't to put you under hammer, but just simply to tell you the truth. So if it's something that appeals to you, pop on over to the site, get your application form in, and I'll take it from there. And if it's not, then thanks for watching. Hopefully there's still things for you to learn out of this video, which is ultimately to remind yourself that there's only one way to create a successful business, and that's your way. Okay, your way should always really include showing up, right? But showing up your way, connecting your way, and starting conversations, but having conversations your way. And if you do it your way, you're going to be able to live life your way. And as you're living life your way, you're going to be able to make your impact upon the world your way. Okay, and that's really what this is about. The Guru Project is about knowing yourself, growing yourself, and showing yourself. Okay, if you choose to come join me for those 10 days in Thailand next month, you're going to get much more of that than you ever bargained for, than you ever dreamed of. And if you don't, then I invite you to still do the inner work that brings out all of those messages from yourself, right where you are. If you're in America, if you're in Australia, if you're in the UK, I don't really care. You've still got the opportunity to sit down and do that inner work and find out how you can build your business your way. Till next time.